He arrived with a smile and a camera. He claimed he had come to tell Africa's story. But what no one knew was that he wasn't filming a documentary. He was charting secret maps. He wasn't searching for truth. He was tracking targets. It all began quietly. A fair-skinned man with spotless shoes and a French accent landed at Ouagadougou International Airport with a tourist visa and a journalist badge clipped to his shirt. To customs officers, he declared he was a freelance journalist, here to understand Burkina Faso security issues and share local voices with the world. He smiled, spoke flawless French, and claimed to admire President Ibrahim Traoré's courage. "It's rare to see young African leaders stand up to the West," he said. And people believed him. Why wouldn't they? He was polite, offered water to taxi drivers. He handed out pens to school children, bought tea in village markets, took photos of sunsets and goats. But through his camera lens he was capturing something else. Over the following weeks he visited places few journalists dared to go. He lingered near military camps, walked along railways and questioned guards about transport routes and mining shipments. One soldier even joked, "You ask more questions than our own commander." He had smiled. That's how journalists learn. At night, he stayed in a modest guest house on the outskirts of the city. He was never seen drinking or partying, but something felt off. Every night he made long international calls, never using a local SIM card. He didn't publish anything, no articles, no posts, no tags. He said he was preparing a major report for a European publication. But nothing was ever released. Anywhere. At first, locals assumed he was just eccentric. Until one night he was spotted near a restricted radio tower. That changed everything. Burkinabe intelligence quietly began to track him. They monitored his movements, cloned his phone data without touching the device, intercepted his emails, texts, and calls. What they uncovered had nothing to do with journalism. It was espionage. When President Ibrahim Traoré saw the evidence with his own eyes, he didn't launch a raid. He chose a more strategic response. He invited the journalist to ask his questions, live in front of the entire nation. An unusual press conference was organized by the presidency in Ouagadougou. But no international media showed up. No BBC, no CNN, no RFI. Just a few carefully selected local reporters. And one name added at the very last minute. Julien Morel, freelance journalist, France. He arrived alone, wearing beige trousers, a white shirt, and the same press badge from his arrival. No tripod, no cameraman. Just his shoulder bag, his notebook, and a faint smirk. He had no idea what was waiting for him. He greeted the guards with confidence. "I'm here for the president's press briefing." A soldier motioned him forward. But behind the uniforms, sharp eyes were watching. The room was quiet, too quiet. Cameras were already rolling. 6 chairs formed a half circle. Julien sat down, opened his notebook, and glanced around. No one smiled at him. No one greeted him. The atmosphere was icy. He thought it was normal. Maybe they were nervous around a European journalist. Then the door opened. Ibrahim Traoré walked in, calm, upright, not in a suit but in his military fatigues. He looked neither tired nor rushed. Just ready. Julien stood up. "Mr. President, it's an honor. I was hoping." Traoré shook his hand firmly. "You've been asking many questions about us, Mr. Morel. Today I will answer them. But first, I have a few questions for you." Julien blinked. Was this a trap? He smiled awkwardly. Of course, that's the purpose of an interview. But this would not be a typical interview. Ibrahim Traoré had not invited a journalist. He had summoned a spy. And the next few minutes would make that clear. The cameras blinked gently. The journalist sat in silence. Ibrahim Traoré stood without any notes. Across from him, Julien Morel adjusted his collar. He was used to leading interviews. But this time something felt wrong. "Mr. Morel, you've been in our country for 23 days, correct?" "Yes, Mr. President," Julien replied, trying to stay calm. "I've been collecting testimonies, filming locals, trying to understand." "Understand what?" Julien hesitated. "The challenges your people face. Security, infrastructure, foreign relations." Traoré nodded slowly. A soldier stepped forward with a sealed folder. "You have visited 9 areas near military sites. You recorded 3 strategic locations, disguised as casual interviews with guards." Julien's face turned pale. "I'm a journalist, we go where the stories are." Traoré stepped closer. And do journalists also send encrypted emails at 2 a.m. to servers based in Abidjan? Julian froze. Another journalist turned their head, shocked. The soldier held up a photo. Julian at night, laptop open, encrypted email client glowing on the screen. Another photo. Julian standing near a military radio tower. And another. Screenshots of messages sent to a French military contractor, known to Burkinabe intelligence. Julian lost all color. I can explain. Please do, said Traoré. But Julian had no more words. He wasn't being interviewed anymore. He was under suspicion. The president turned to the camera. This man claimed he came to understand our people. In reality, he came to document our weaknesses, map our movements, and transmit our secrets abroad. He did not come to tell our story. He came to steal it. Then he added, "Let the people decide, is this journalism or betrayal?" The silence in the room was heavier than thunder. Julian Morel had come to expose Africa. But now it was Africa that was exposing him. His hand trembled as he reached for his bag. Two guards stepped forward. "Mr. Morel," Traoré said calmly, "do you deny these photos, these messages, these maps?" Julian opened his mouth. Nothing came out. He was sweating. A soldier entered with a black laptop, Julian's, seized the night before without him even noticing. The screen lit up. A projector displayed a map of Burkina Faso. Oil routes, mining sites, unmarked military depots. One file stood out, for review, Côte d'Ivoire client. Julian stammered, "They were just notes? I didn't send them." Traoré raised a printed email. Targets identified. Security weaknesses near the palace. Recommendation, monitor for future asset placement. Julian turned pale. "That's fake. Sent from your encrypted mailbox at 2:17 a.m. from Zone 3. We don't forge evidence, Mr. Morel. We collect it." The president returned to the microphone. "This is what they send us. Not apologies. Not aid. Spies with cameras pretending to be journalists. They think we will smile and remain silent. But those days are over." He turned to Julian one last time. "You came looking for stories. Now you are the story." Julian didn't resist. He lowered his head and walked out, this time inside the frame. The press room gradually emptied. Cameras were packed away. Chairs were folded. But the historic moment between President Ibrahim Traoré and Julian Morel had already left the room. It was spreading across the globe. The first video appeared on social media barely an hour after the event. In it, Traoré calmly asked, "Do you call this journalism, or betrayal?" Then came the images. The computer screen showing the military map. The intercepted emails. And finally the white man Julian Morel, silently leaving the room, flanked by two soldiers. The internet exploded. In Burkina Faso, cafes and families replayed the footage again and again. One man shouted, "He caught a spy live on TV." An old woman near Kaya whispered, "We've waited a long time for a president who stands tall like that." Across West Africa the video went viral. TikTok, WhatsApp, Facebook. Every platform was flooded. They came to study us. But we studied them instead. In Guinea, Senegal, Benin, young people repeated the same phrase. "This is how you protect your country." In Dakar, students painted a mural of Traoré with the words, "Africa has eyes now." In Accra a tweet went viral. He didn't raise his voice. But he raised the standard. In France the reaction was colder. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a short statement. "We are monitoring the situation and expect fair treatment for our citizen." But not a word about the evidence. No comment on the emails or the maps. Because they couldn't say anything. Meanwhile in Burkina Faso, Julian Morel was officially arrested. Not for practicing journalism but for espionage and threats to national security. He was transferred to a secure facility outside the capital. He was no longer just a journalist, he had become a symbol. Every microphone that had stolen a secret. Every handshake that masked a mission. Every photograph taken with ulterior motives. Ibrahim Traoré didn't give another speech. He didn't need to. The whole world had seen, heard, and understood. You came looking for stories. Now you are the story. And as the video continued to circulate, a realization spread across Africa. This wasn't just the capture of a spy. It was a continent reclaiming control over its own narrative. A 40-second video showed Traoré, calm and upright, looking into the camera. You came for stories. Now you are the story. Then Julian Morel being escorted out. No shouting. No violence. Just truth. In just a few hours it had reached millions. In Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, and Mali, youth reshared the video with captions like, "This is how you confront them, with facts, not fear." In Burkina Faso, shops turned off their music and played the press conference instead. Young people gathered in tea corners, debating. Elders listened silently to their radios. And at the market, a woman summed it up. They used to come with guns. Now they come with cameras. But it's the same war. On television the footage ran on a loop. Everything was shown. Photos of Julian near military sites. His laptop displaying the sensitive maps. Messages sent to Abidjan. Subject line, "Palace entry point, low visibility." Even Paris couldn't deny it. But still they tried. We are ensuring the fair treatment of our citizen. Nothing about the evidence. Nothing to refute. Nothing to say. In Ouagadougou, Julian Morel was no longer a journalist. He was under military detention, awaiting trial. No cameras. No interviews. No press badge. He requested a lawyer from the French embassy. Traoré's response was made public. "We have a greater case to judge. It belongs to Africa." And so, the man who had come to reveal secrets was now revealed to the entire world. The press conference was over. But its echo resonated in homes and hearts across the continent. For 3 days Ibrahim Traoré said nothing. He didn't need to. But on the 4th day he came out. Not for a diplomatic address. Not for a global summit. But to speak to his people. In a school courtyard without a fancy microphone. Children sitting on the ground. Farmers, traders, drivers, and soldiers standing at the back. And he said, "They've been watching us for years. Not to help us but to control what we say, what we build, what we dream." He looked into the crowd and added, "They sent a man with a camera. But it wasn't a camera. It was a weapon pointed at our future." And then he said something that would become a rallying cry across Africa. To the next one who comes with smiles and hidden wires in his bag, "Do not mistake our silence for blindness. We see you now." That sentence spread everywhere. "We see you now." Painted on walls in Ouagadougou. Posted in TikTok stories from Lagos, Accra, Dakar. Whispered in lecture halls from Bamako to Dar es Salaam. No riots. No vengeance. Just one message. "You taught us to hold the camera. Now we know where to aim it." And that's how it ended. No gunfire. No shouting. Just one man caught in his own trap. And a continent awakened.